G'day everyone. We're having a look at my best and worst tree today, the Rubinette. Now the Rubinette is a fantastic tasting apple, and I know that because I've tried them last year, and it's actually the main reason why I kept this tree, because unfortunately the drawback to having one of the best tasting apples in the world is that it gets pretty bad diseases. And for me, it's also been a pretty slow grower. It is not very vigorous, and I've had all the problems that you can basically imagine with an apple tree. The leaves and the fruit get covered in scab. I get mildew every year. As you can see, this whole top section here has no leaves at all because the mildew is so bad. It's the only tree in my collection of trees that I spray, and I do that so that I can manage the mildew and still get some growth out of it. And obviously you might be thinking, why would I be bothering with such a scrawny looking tree that gets lots of diseases and that doesn't grow very strongly? Well, it all comes down to the apple. And today's a special day because I've been waiting a long time to pick these apples. If you look online, they'll say that you can pick them at the end of September. But for me, I've found that growing on a south-facing wall here in Cork, it's the end of October, maybe even into the middle of November, that the apples taste the best. Okay, so I put these little organza bags on the apples to protect them. And if you just give me a moment, I'll get it out of here. Okay, there you go. Now I do that to protect it from the birds pecking at the nice red apple. And you can see that this is a really good size apple for this tree. They started out very small, and this is probably twice the size of the apple that I got in previous years. So I'm very happy to get these nice sized apples finally off this tree. And I think as the tree matures, they'll probably get this nice size consistently, or maybe even larger. Now the tree does have a tendency to be biennial bearing, which means that we don't get many apples one year and then we get too many the next year, and you have to thin them. And you can see that there are actually scab marks on this apple still, even though it's been protected. And I didn't spray these apples for scab. I just sprayed the areas that were badly affected by mildew. So let's have a taste test. I'm going to bite into the reddest side that's been facing the sun on the south-facing wall, and we'll see if it tastes as good as prior years. Man, this apple's just out of this world good. It's crunchy. It's yellowish flesh. It has a really good balance between acidity and sweetness. Maybe leaning towards the sweet side of the spectrum. But it's a really, if this makes sense, it's a really strong balance. There's strong sweetness and strong acidity mixed together. It's crunchy. This apple's a little bit softer than what it was last year, and I think that's because I've left this particular apple on the tree maybe a week past its prime ripeness to pick, which suggests to me that perhaps these apples are best picked before they drop. I'm just going to have another bite. Yeah, so I think this apple is about a week overdue being picked at its prime, but even now it's just fantastic, and it's better than all the other apples that I've reviewed on my other videos that you can see on my channel there. It is just fantastic. A really good apple flavor, a really nice sourness to it as well, but if I had to describe the taste overall, I'd say it's sweet. So as you can see, it's just a complex apple with a nice color, a nice shape. The skin isn't it's not too thick at all. You don't really notice it when you're eating it. It's got a yellowish, creamy colored flesh. It can be very crispy. I've heard that they can be stored for a little bit of time as well. Its parentage is Cox's Orange Pippin crossed with Golden Delicious. So its parentage is just fantastic. And really for me, my ideal tree would be a Rubinette that has been somehow made resistant to scab and mildew, and that grows a little bit stronger and also ripens a little bit earlier than what this current variety does. So look, you know, this is a big moment for me on the unveiling of the Rubinette. I've had it under netting for the last 3 months to protect just these couple of apples that I've got from the birds. It's a fantastic apple. I really wouldn't recommend growing it though unless you're prepared to take care of it. I mean, for me, given that I'm focusing on growing disease-resistant apples, it's a really bad choice. And it's, you know, got the potential there with the fact that it gets scab consistently every year to make some of my other scab-resistant varieties no longer resistant to scab, because it will be here breeding away in the same conditions and perhaps come up with a new strain of scab that won't be resistant to my other apples. So I think if you get what I'm talking about there, it's probably not good to go mixing good apples with bad. But I really do love the Rubinette, and I've been looking forward to being able to do this review all year. It's the highlight for me, and I've only got a couple of apples, but I'm going to save that other one now and treasure it. So I hope you like that review of the Rubinette apple. If anybody knows of an apple that does taste really similar to this apple, or if they've got any growing experience of how to grow it better, please let me know. And like I said, I'd love to have an apple just like this that's resistant to all the diseases. All right, thanks very much for watching.